ये आकाशवाणी है। अब आप कनकलता से समाचार सुनिए। झारखंड विधानसभा चुनाव के आज चौथे चरण का मतदान शांतिपूर्वक चल रहा है। सुबह 10 बजे तक लगभग 19% वोट डाले जा चुके थे। नक्सल प्रभावित इलाकों में बड़ी संख्या में मतदाता अपने मताधिकार का इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं। इस चरण में 4 जिलों धनबाद, देवघर, गिरिडीह और बोकारो के 15 निर्वाचन क्षेत्रों में मतदान हो रहा है। बगोदर, जमुआ, गिरिडीह, डुमरी और टुंडी निर्वाचन क्षेत्रों में सुबह 7 बजे से जारी मतदान शाम 3 बजे तक चलेगा। बाकी 10 निर्वाचन क्षेत्रों में शाम 5 बजे तक वोट डाले जाएंगे। इस चरण में 22 महिलाओं सहित कुल 221 उम्मीदवार मैदान में हैं। राज्य के 2 मंत्रियों राज पालीवाल और अमर बाउरी, 7 पूर्व मंत्रियों और 14 मौजूदा विधायकों के राजनीतिक भाग्य का फैसला इस चरण से होगा। असामाजिक तत्वों का प्रवेश रोकने के लिए बिहार और पश्चिम बंगाल से लगी सीमाएं सील कर दी गई हैं। निर्वाचन आयोग ने दुष्कर्म की घटनाओं पर वरिष्ठ कांग्रेस नेता राहुल गांधी की कथित टिप्पणी के सिलसिले में झारखंड के मुख्य चुनाव अधिकारी से रिपोर्ट मांगी है। आयोग ने केंद्रीय मंत्री स्मृति ईरानी के नेतृत्व में भारतीय जनता पार्टी के प्रतिनिधिमंडल की शिकायत पर यह रिपोर्ट मांगी है। प्रतिनिधिमंडल ने राहुल गांधी के खिलाफ इस मामले में कार्रवाई की मांग की है। राहुल गांधी ने झारखंड में एक चुनाव रैली के दौरान कथित रूप से आपत्तिजनक टिप्पणी की थी। वित्त मंत्री निर्मला सीतारामन आज से विभिन्न पक्षों के साथ बजट पूर्व विचार विमर्श शुरू करेंगी। आर्थिक वृद्धि को बढ़ावा देने के लिए वे उद्योग जगत, किसान संगठनों और अर्थशास्त्रियों से जानकारी प्राप्त करेंगी। वे अगले वर्ष 1 फरवरी को अपना दूसरा बजट संसद में पेश करेंगी। सीतारामन अर्थव्यवस्था के नए प्रतिभागियों, स्टार्टअप्स, फिनटेक और डिजिटल क्षेत्र के प्रतिनिधियों से भी मिलेंगी। बाद में वे वित्तीय क्षेत्र और पूंजी बाजार के प्रतिनिधियों के साथ भी बातचीत करेंगी। केंद्रीय प्रत्यक्ष कर बोर्ड ने पूर्वोत्तर क्षेत्र के लिए वित्त वर्ष 2019-20 में अग्रिम कर की तीसरी किस्त के भुगतान की अंतिम तिथि इस महीने की 31 तारीख तक बढ़ा दी है। इससे पहले ये समय सीमा 15 दिसंबर थी। यह निर्णय उस क्षेत्र में हाल की अशांति के कारण लिया गया है। आयकर विभाग ने कहा है कि इस महीने के अंत तक आधार के साथ स्थायी खाता संख्या पैन को जोड़ना अनिवार्य होगा। इससे आयकर सेवाओं के लाभ उठाए जा सकेंगे। केंद्रीय प्रत्यक्ष कर बोर्ड ने इस वर्ष सितंबर में जारी एक आदेश में पैन को आधार से जोड़ने की समय सीमा 30 सितंबर से बढ़ाकर 31 दिसंबर कर दी थी। उत्तर प्रदेश के मेरठ जिले में एहतियात के तौर पर इंटरनेट सेवाओं पर रोक लगा दी गई है। अलीगढ़ मुस्लिम विश्वविद्यालय के छात्रों के आंदोलन को देखते हुए अलीगढ़ में भी इंटरनेट सेवाओं पर रोक जारी है। विश्वविद्यालय के रजिस्ट्रार अब्दुल हामिद ने बताया है कि विश्वविद्यालय में आज से शीतकालीन अवकाश की घोषणा कर दी गई है। राष्ट्र आज विजय दिवस मना रहा है। ये 1971 के युद्ध में पाकिस्तान पर भारत की विजय की स्मृति में मनाया जाता है। आज उन शहीदों को श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित की जा रही है जिन्होंने इस युद्ध में बलिदान दिया था। 16 दिसंबर 1971 को पाकिस्तानी सेना की पूर्वी कमान के प्रमुख लेफ्टिनेंट जनरल A.K. न्याजी ने 93,000 सैनिकों के साथ भारतीय सेना और मुक्ति वाहिनी के समक्ष बिना शर्त समर्पण किया था। इस युद्ध के बाद पूर्वी पाकिस्तान अलग होकर बांग्लादेश बना था। प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने विजय दिवस के अवसर पर भारतीय सैनिकों के साहस और बलिदान को नमन किया है। रक्षा राज्य मंत्री श्रीपद यसो नायक, थल सेना प्रमुख जनरल बिपिन रावत, वायुसेना प्रमुख एयर चीफ मार्शल राकेश कुमार भदौरिया और नौसेना प्रमुख एडमिरल करमबीर सिंह ने नई दिल्ली में विजय दिवस के अवसर पर राष्ट्रीय समर स्मारक पर श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित की। शेहोप और शिमरॉन हेटमायर के शानदार प्रदर्शन की बदौलत वेस्टइंडीज ने पहले एक दिवसीय अंतर्राष्ट्रीय क्रिकेट मैच में भारत को 8 विकेट से हरा दिया है। कल रात चेन्नई में शिमरॉन हेटमायर ने 106 गेंद पर 139 रन बनाए। उन्हें मैन ऑफ द मैच घोषित किया गया। इस जीत के साथ ही 3 मैचों की सीरीज में वेस्टइंडीज ने 1-0 की बढ़त बना ली है। श्रृंखला का दूसरा मैच बुधवार को विशाखापत्तनम में होगा। मैड्रिड में कल समाप्त हुई संयुक्त राष्ट्र संघ की जलवायु वार्ता में कार्बन बाजारों के बारे में कोई समझौता नहीं हो पाया। इसके साथ ही ये समाचार बुलेटिन समाप्त हुआ।
Welcome to our program International News, where we bring you news from across the globe. I'm Paul Thotham.
And I'm Renu Kataria.
First, the headlines. Longest UN climate talks end with no deal on carbon markets. New Zealand officials release names of 4 more volcanic victims. Hong Kong police makes multiple arrests as protesters target cities' malls. Bangladesh government publishes a list of Pakistan collaborators during 1971 Liberation War. And West Indies beat India by 8 wickets in their first ODI at Chennai. The longest UN climate talks ended in Madrid yesterday with no deal on carbon markets. Delegates from almost 200 countries failed to come up with more ambitious targets to cut greenhouse gases at UN climate talks. It failed to fulfill the terms of the 2015 Paris Agreement, prompting UN Chief Antonio Guterres to lament a lost opportunity to fight global warming. The 2-week-long negotiations, which extended till yesterday, saw no agreement on major issues such as Article 6, loss of damage and long-term finance. Under the Article 6 of the Paris Agreement signed in 2015, the countries had agreed to set up a global carbon market system to help developing countries decarbonize their economies at lower costs. However, the countries have tried and failed to agree the rules governing this mechanism. Despite holding the longest climate talks ever in 25 nearly annual editions, the sleep-deprived negotiators left one of the thorniest issues for next year's summit, COP26 in Glasgow in UK, how to deal with carbon emissions. Few countries came to this year's talks with updated plans to reach the Paris Agreement, even as the EU agreed its long-term target of reaching net zero emissions by 2050. Experts say more ambitious emissions cuts are needed globally if the Paris Pledge is to be met.
The names of 4 more people killed in an eruption on New Zealand's most active volcano were released today, 1 week after the disaster. 16 deaths have been confirmed, while 2 bodies are still missing, believed to be in the water off the island. Some 20 people remain in intensive care with severe burns. All 4 victims named today were Australian. It brings the number of Australians identified as fatalities in the eruption to 8, along with 2 US citizens who had permanent residency in Australia. The only other person identified so far is New Zealander who was working as a tour guide on the volcano last Monday when it blasted out a huge plume of ash, rock and superheated steam. A minute's silence will be observed in New Zealand today to mark 1 week since the deadly eruption of White Island volcano. Hong Kong police used pepper spray and made multiple arrests today as small groups of black-clad pro-democracy protesters targeted some of the city's malls, ending a rare lull in violence. Flash mob protest and vandalism broke out in multiple locations. Earlier in the afternoon, an elderly woman was knocked over in the mall after a fight broke out when a shopper tried to stop protesters from spraying graffiti. The skirmishes are the first to break out in 3 weeks. Hong Kong has been appended by 6 months of massive pro-democracy protests that have seen violent battles between police and hardcore demonstrators, as well as regular transport disruption. The past month had seen a lull in the violence and vandalism after pro-democracy parties won a landslide in local council elections.
The Bangladesh government yesterday published the first list of 10,789 collaborators who helped the Pakistan Army during the 1971 Liberation War. The collaborators, known as Razakars, colluded with the Pakistan Army to engage in rape, murder and looting of Bangladeshi people who were fighting the war. Razakar was a militia force formed by the Pakistan military through an ordinance promulgated in 1971 to help the army suppress any rebellion in the country. Announcing the list in Dhaka, Minister of Liberation War Affairs AKM Muzammil Haq said the names would be published on the government website soon. He said the list of other anti-liberation war organizations like Al-Badr and Al-Shams will be released there. The process for preparation of the list of Razakars was started in May this year based on the recommendation of the Parliamentary Standing Committee of the Ministry. In 1972, the first government of Bangladesh under Sheikh Mujibur Rahman had enacted a law to identify and prosecute the collaborators. Based on this, 37,000 people were arrested as war criminals, but 26,000 of them facing non-heinous charges were later released under a general amnesty given by the Sheikh Mujib government. After the assassination of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman in 1975, the act was repealed by the military government and 11,000 Razakars accused of heinous crimes like rape and murder were freed.
In the Philippines, death toll climbed to 3 from the powerful earthquake that hit the southern island of Mindanao yesterday. The quake injured dozens and damaged buildings in an area still recovering from a string of deadly quakes in October. Police said a rescue operation had been launched at a heavily damaged market building in Padada near the 6.8 magnitude quake's epicenter, which is about 90 kilometers south of the major city of Davao. Patients were evacuated from hospitals as a precaution, and nervous crowds massed outside shopping malls after the jolt and dozens of smaller but strong aftershocks. A provincial police commander said the number of injured across the hardest hit areas had reached 62, with one confirmed fatality after a child was crushed under a collapsed structure. The commander, Alberto Lopez, said there appeared to be some people trapped under the damaged market building, but rescue efforts had been delayed. The Philippines is situated on the Pacific Ring of Fire, an arc of intense seismic activity that stretches from Japan through Southeast Asia and across the Pacific Basin. 3 quakes above 6.0 magnitude hit roughly the same area of Mindanao in a matter of weeks in October, killing some 24 people and heavily damaging police buildings, office buildings, schools and apartments.
Sri Lankan government formally released its new national policy framework meant to guide the government's ministries and departments in implementing their policies. The framework, titled Vistas of Prosperity and Splendor, is aimed at achieving fourfold outcome of being a productive citizen, a contented family, a virtuous, disciplined and just society, and a prosperous nation. Among the main objectives are maintaining a 6.5% or higher GDP growth rate under the macroeconomic program, achieving a per capita income exceeding $6,500 during 2020 to 2025. The policy further elaborates to keep the unemployment rate below 4% and the inflation rate below 5%, as well as to manage the government revenue and expenditure to keep the budget deficit below the 4% of the GDP. The police mandates to implement a national and international partnership based on principles of priority to national security, friendly and non-aligned foreign policy. It also mandates an administration free from corruption and new constitution that fulfills the people's wishes. Thousands of Lebanese protesters defiantly returned yesterday to rally outside Parliament in Beirut, hours after security forces chased them out using tear gas and rubber bullets and injuring dozens. Yesterday's late night saw one of the most violent crackdowns on protesters since nationwide anti-government demonstrations began 2 months ago, leading to the resignation of Prime Minister Saad Hariri on October the 29th. Attackers in North Lebanon also set fire to the offices of 2 major political parties, the state-run national news agency said. The protesters in Beirut chanted against the security crackdown and called for an independent new head of government unaffiliated with established political parties. The overnight confrontations in Beirut left more than 130 people injured, according to the Red Cross and the Lebanese Civil Defense. The violence and today's rally came just hours before the president was due to meet with representatives of the parliamentary blocs to name a new prime minister. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates, visit our News on AIR app and follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts. You can also visit our website www.newsonair.com and our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. You are listening to our program International News, where we bring you news from across the globe. Stay tuned to our YouTube channel for more updates from across the world.
Indonesia has filed a lawsuit at the World Trade Organization against the European Union, claiming the bloc's restrictions on palm oil-based biofuel which are unfair, the country's trade ministry said in a statement yesterday. Indonesia has sent a request for consultation to the EU on December 9, 2019 as the initial initiation stage in the lawsuit. The European Commission concluded earlier this year that palm oil cultivation results in excessive deforestation and its use in transport fuel should be phased out by 2030. Indonesia, the world's biggest producer of palm oil, has repeatedly said it will challenge the EU's Renewable Energy Directive, known as RED II, at the WTO's dispute settlement body. The Trump administration will announce as early as this week plans to withdraw around 4,000 troops from Afghanistan, US media reported. Talks between the United States and the Taliban were paused by Washington on Thursday after an attack by the militant group near a key US air base north of Kabul that left 2 civilians dead and dozens injured. Resumption of talks had taken place only a week ago as the parties sought a path to reduce violence or even reach a ceasefire. There are 13,000 US troops currently in Afghanistan. According to a draft agreement from September reached after years of negotiations, the Taliban would be required to commit to certain security measures, agree to talks with the Afghan government, and promise a reduction of violence in exchange for US troop withdrawal. US President Donald Trump insisted last month on the need for a ceasefire and has previously indicated he wants to wind down US military entanglements abroad where possible.
The 7th session of the Islamic Conference of Health Ministers began yesterday in Abu Dhabi, with ministers and high-level member representatives from 40 Islamic states taking part in the event. The 3-day conference, hosted by the UAE Ministry of Health and Prevention (MOHAP) in collaboration with the Organization of Islamic Cooperation (OIC), is themed Quality of Life. The conference will run until the 17th of December 2019, during which attendees will discuss priority health issues for Islamic societies and exchange experiences between countries. Dr. Yusuf bin Ahmed Al Uthaymeen, Secretary General of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, and Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, Director General of the World Health Organization, are also attending the conference. The conference will showcase the best practices in health-related sectors, highlight conditions of health and mechanisms for achieving more Islamic work projects pertaining to prevention, healthcare and quality of life, review successful global experiences in this field, and prepare effective recommendations to improve the health sector in the OIC member status. A passenger bus carrying Hindu pilgrims veered off a road and fell some 100 meters along the Araniko Highway in Nepal's Sindhu Palchok yesterday, killing at least 14 people and injuring 18 others. Police said the bus was heading towards Bhaktapur from a Hindu temple in Kalingchok in Dholka district when it skidded off the highway and rolled down a slope from the 4 Kilo area. 3 children and 11 adults were killed in the accident, the Kathmandu Post quoted police as saying. The injured have been rushed to nearby hospitals, Police Inspector Navraj Newpain said, adding that 6 of them are in critical condition. Meanwhile, a search is underway for the driver of the bus, who was on the run following the accident. This was the second major road accident in the district within a month. In November, 17 people were killed when a passenger bus plunged into the Sankoshi River in Nepal.
The United States secretly expelled 2 Chinese embassy officials after they drove into a sensitive military base in Virginia, New York Times reported yesterday, citing people with the knowledge of the episode. 6 people with the knowledge of the expulsion have told the newspaper that American officials believe that at least one of the 2 Chinese officials was an intelligence officer operating under diplomatic cover. The incident had occurred in September at a base near Norfolk, Virginia. The episode, which neither Washington nor Beijing made public, came at a time when the 2 countries are increasingly locked in geopolitical and economic rivalry. The expulsions appear to be the first time in 30 years that the US has expelled Chinese diplomats on suspicion of espionage. The US-China trade deal is remarkable in scope, but it won't solve all the problems between the world's 2 biggest economies, the top US negotiator said yesterday. US Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer, in an interview with CBS's Face the Nation, said this is not just about agriculture and other purchases. He said the way to think about this deal is a first step in trying to integrate 2 very different systems to the benefit of both of us. The so-called Phase 1 agreement, announced on Friday, includes elements dealing with intellectual property protections, technology, currency, and financial services. He said the $50 billion in additional purchases of American agricultural products by China is spelled out in writing in the agreement.
In Albania, 9 people have been arrested on suspicion of murder and abuse of power over the collapse of buildings in last month's earthquake that claimed 51 lives. Prosecutors said 17 people, including builders, engineers and officials, were suspected of breaching building regulations that led to the collapse of the buildings. 2 of those arrested on murder charges owned hotels that collapsed in the city of Durrës, one of the area's worst hit. According to the police, both hotels had been built illegally and one of them had also been irregularly legalized. The 6.4 magnitude tremor, the strongest to hit the country in decades, struck in the early hours of the morning on the 26th of November as most people were asleep. More than 14,000 people were left homeless. Iran's telecommunications minister Mohammad Javad Zarif-Jahromi said that the country has foiled a second cyber attack in under a week. The minister said the attack had targeted Iranian electronic government systems. The minister did not give details. A similar claim was made on Wednesday about a massive attack which targeted Iran's electronic infrastructure. Mr. Jahromi made the announcement on the second attack this week on Twitter. He said the Jejfa fortress and had managed to thwart the attack, which had used the well-known APT-27, which experts have linked to Chinese-speaking hackers.
8-year-old Lichipriya Kangujam, known as India's Greta, for her passion towards the fight against climate change, has urged global leaders to take immediate action to save the planet and the future of young children like her. Speaking at the United Nations Climate Change Conference COP25 at Madrid, capital of Spain, the young activist from Manipur, who has already spoken in 21 countries on climate change, gave the world a glimpse of her resolve as she urged global leaders to act now against climate change. The little girl has quickly shot to limelight, with Spanish newspapers hailing her as Greta of the Global South. The palm tree has been added to UNESCO's representative list of intangible cultural heritage. The decision to inscribe the palm tree into the list was made at the 14th annual meeting of the UNESCO Intergovernmental Committee for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage, held in Bogota, Colombia from 9th to 14th December 2019. Department of Culture and Tourism DCT Abu Dhabi applied to inscribe the palm tree under the sponsorship of the Arab League Educational, Cultural and Scientific Organization AEL-SCO as an Arab heritage element shared between 14 Arab countries, namely the UAE, Bahrain, Egypt, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Mauritania, Morocco, Oman, Palestine, Saudi Arabia, Sudan, Tunisia and Yemen. This step is part of DCT Abu Dhabi's strategy to safeguard and promote the UAE's heritage through UNESCO, the world's leading sponsor of shared human culture and heritage. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates, visit our News on Air app and follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts. You can also visit our website www.newsonair.com and our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. You are listening to our program International News, where we bring you news from across the globe. Stay tuned to our YouTube channel for more updates from across the globe.
Greenhouse gas emissions directly from the movement of volcanic rocks can create massive global warming effects. According to a study, the effects could be more than previously believed. It may lead to changes in the way scientists estimate climate change. The study, published in the journal Nature Communications, noted that changes in the planet's geology caused the largest temporary global warming of the past 65 million years. The researchers, including those from the University of Birmingham in the UK, said one such role in climate change could be played by large igneous provinces, LIPs, extremely large accumulations of rocks forming when magma traveled through the crust towards the surface. They created a model of changes in carbon emissions during the Paleocene and Eocene thermal maximum PETM, a short interval of maximum temperature lasting around 100,000 years, some 55 million years ago. As part of the study, the researchers calculated the greenhouse gas fluxes associated with the North Atlantic Igneous Provinces NAIP, one of the Earth's largest LIPs that spans Britain, Ireland, Norway and Greenland. The simulations by the researchers predicted that the volcanic rocks part of the NAIP could have initiated PETM climate change. According to the researchers, the PETM is the largest natural climate change event of this era. In cricket, Shai Hope and Shimron Hetmyer guided West Indies to a comfortable 8-wicket win over India in the first ODI at the M.A. Chidambaram Stadium in Chennai last night. Shimron Hetmyer, who smashed a career best of 139 in 106 balls, is declared man of the match. With this win, the Caribbean side have a 1-0 lead in the 3-match ODI series. Chasing a target of 288 runs, West Indies made 291 for the loss of 2 wickets. Hope scored unbeaten 102 runs, while Nicholas Pooran played a knock of 29 runs, not out. Earlier, the visitors won the toss and asked India to bat first. Batting first, the hosts scored 287 for in 50 overs. Wicketkeeper batsman Rishabh Pant scored his maiden ODI half-century. Pant, while playing in his 13th 50-over game, played a knock of 71 runs off 69 balls. For Windies, Courtnall, Kemo Paul and Joseph scalped 2 wickets each. Both of the teams will now face each other in the second game at the Visakhapatnam on Wednesday.
The first match of the 2-test match series between Pakistan and Sri Lanka has been drawn. Pakistan opener Abid Ali became the first batsman to score a debut 100 in both Test and One-Day international cricket. Abid finished with 109 not out and Babar Azam was unbeaten on 102 as Pakistan scored 252 for 2 in reply to Sri Lanka's first innings total of 308 for 6 declared. Rawalpindi Test was affected due to rain to which a single ball could not be bowled. The second and final match of the series will be played in Karachi from Thursday. Australia recorded one of the biggest wins over New Zealand on the 4th day of the first test at Perth Stadium in Australia yesterday. Having trailed by 250 runs on the first innings, the Kiwis were set a mammoth 468 to win, which would have been a record chase in Test cricket on a deteriorating pitch after Australia declared at 217 for 9 in their second innings. The visitors were never in contention after losing their first wicket with just 6 runs on the board and were unable to push the match into a fifth day after Mitchell Starc and Pat Cummins cleaned up the Kiwi tail under lights in Perth's first ever day-night test.
United States playing captain Tiger Woods scored a 3-2 victory over Abraham Ancer of the international team in the first match of singles play on the final day of the 2019 President's Cup at Royal Melbourne Golf Club in Australia yesterday.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Longest UN climate talks end with no deal on carbon markets. New Zealand officials release names of 4 more volcano victims. Hong Kong police makes multiple arrests as protesters target city's malls. Bangladesh government publishes list of Pakistan collaborators during 1971 Liberation War. And West Indies beat India by 8 wickets in first ODI at Chennai. You were listening to International News, where we bring you news from across the globe. Stay tuned to our YouTube channel for more updates from across the world.